Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 28 minutes before 12 o'clock. Not a bad-looking day. Looks like the weather's going to be nice all week, huh?
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous.
You know, and I kind of know that because of somebody else's work. I mean, I couldn't just look out the window and tell you it's going to be nice all week. I can tell you it's nice right now, right?
Yeah.
So the work that people do to give us the weather forecast so we can, in advance, tell you, because we're the ones who look like the heroes, right? But the truth is somebody else does the work. Dr. Michael Ventrice is on the phone. He's a meteorological scientist, so there you go. He's one of those people that does this work. He's also a software engineer for the weather company, and I want to tell you a little bit about this, and then we'll introduce him. He's going to talk about coding, which is something your son does in New Jersey for some company, and my son does in Gainesville for some company, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of over my head. Daniel Krook is with Dr. Ventrice. Daniel is the Chief Technology Officer for the Call for Code and Code and Response. So they're going to talk to us about something real important to us here in Florida. It is it has to deal with hurricanes, okay? I'll just kind of narrow it down to that. If you're looking at the streaming video, I have their logo, Call for Code. Let's say good morning to both Dr. Michael Ventrice and Daniel Krook. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm located just outside of Boston, Massachusetts.
Is this Dr. Ventrice speaking?
About an hour east of New York.
You're in New York?
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is Dr. Ventrice.
Okay, and Daniel, you're in New York?
I'm in Connecticut, an hour east of New York.
Oh, Connecticut. Okay. So tell me about the Call for Code and how will this affect us in Florida where hurricanes are part of our lifestyle?
Sure. So Call for Code, it's a global yearly competition that IBM supports. And what it does is it draws software developers, those folks like your kids that create applications for their mobile phones, for the web, for their business. So creating using technology to create solutions that use information to help people better prepare for storms like hurricanes, to respond to them, and to recover from them. So it draws on those 22 million developers in the world whose skills are becoming more and more valuable to humanity, and taking those, putting them to bear on the world's largest problems. So that's what Call for Code aims to.
And are the problems that are solvable always solvable from a scientific point of view, or is there some kind of a code that can maybe help us figure out the political stuff that we have to put up with?
Well, it's all about information. So when people develop applications, whatever can help them get the right information and use that information to make the choice to prepare for a storm. So technology can enable that. You don't just throw technology at a problem for the sake of technology, but what Call for Code does is it relies on experts who have information. So the weather company has information on storms. The American Red Cross has information on the types of response that's needed. And developers have the skills that can draw on the expertise of everybody who's part of that Call for Code community to build applications that make the right choice and that help save lives.
Okay. And if we're preparing for something like a hurricane, it seems like that's a little bit more time. But but an earthquake, for example, it almost seems like there's no way to prepare. Does it apply to something like an earthquake?
Sure. So we saw solutions in last year's competition that addressed hurricanes, earthquakes, flooding, typhoons, you name it. And they were able to draw on data, for example, for hurricanes. They can sense things in the ground. They can sense other information that helps provide a little bit more of a lead time. So technology can do that. And in the case of the winning solution last year for hurricanes, it wasn't necessarily about preparedness, but it was that they created a solution that after a storm, when there is no communications available, they can quickly set up a network that has just enough connectivity for people to express their needs over the network to first responders. And those first responders, in turn, can help prioritize where the help needs to be based on that information that's been provided by the network.
Is that where Project OWL stepped in, was for communication?
That's right. So they fill in, and when they did their pilot of their solution. We tested it in Puerto Rico in March. There are some areas of Puerto Rico where network connectivity wasn't restored for 9 months. So that's their niche, is to try to provide a solution that's either deployed ahead of time or right after a storm, to provide a very low-level network where just enough information can be shared on it, so that people can get what they need. They get medical attention, they can get medications, things like that. So that's the goal of the Project OWL solution. And you can see a mini documentary we actually just put up on callforcode.org that talks about how we tested that in partnership with the government, with private organizations, and with local companies.
Oh, I'm going to share that with my son. I think he would enjoy that. So callforcode.org, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And has the predictions come out for this year's hurricane forecast?
Yes, we, the weather company, have just released our 2019 hurricane forecast here. So we are predicting a total of 14 named storms, 7 of which we think will develop into a hurricane intensity, which is wind speeds greater than 74 miles per hour. And of those 7 hurricanes, we do see the potential for 3 of those to intensify into a major hurricane, which are wind speeds greater than 111 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Oh, how
is there a way to explain to us as lay people, I guess, how the communication is shared? If the internet goes down, for example, is it shared by wavelengths, like a radio wave?
So there are different sources of information. Actually, we were on a line with a different host earlier today talking about ham radios and how ham radios can actually still communicate during these types of outages. But I think it also comes into play, like what Project OWL is doing, and trying to boost those types of when the power goes out or when the wavelengths go down, some technology can come online. There's an opportunity there to really step into and exploit.
And is that through the testing of IBM?
So, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is that through the testing of IBM for code and response?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so Code Response, it's the IBM, the 4-year, $25 million program where we are helping the ideas that come out of Call for Code, the competitions, and we give them the support for testing. We provide IBM expertise. We provide connections with other NGOs and experts that help develop those solutions and bring them to more and more people.
So does the way of communicating, the way of sharing information, does it utilize? I'm looking at the video right now and I see a drone. It looks like. So does it utilize the drones for communicating or for gathering information, or both?
Yeah, so part of the test that we did in Puerto Rico was to take these individual small computers, which is the Project OWL solution. They're distributed around an area, and they communicate over long-range radio. So one way to put those radios in place is distribute them in advance, maybe to a first responder that lives in a particular area. Another way is to deploy them quickly after the storm. So there are several different ways you can do that. You can drop them through civilian air. You can drop them through drones, kind of an innovative test that we were trying there. You can connect them to weather balloons, deploy weather balloons. So a lot of what Project OWL was doing in Puerto Rico with IBM support was to test the deployment mechanisms. So what's the best way to take this little computer, put it where it needs to be so it can be effective, whether that's through a drone, whether that's through pre-distribution, and of course educating people on how to use that technology, make it as simple as possible to find it, deploy it, and connect to it.
Very cool.
And how do you get people to listen to what you're saying with the warnings and for them to take heed and protect themselves?
So that's a great question. And we see this every year where a lot of individuals will ignore some of those warning signs. And this usually stems from their historical experiences with previous warnings that maybe may not have came to fruition. One of the big things we stress here at the Weather Company is staying on top of the current conditions and the most recent information that's available, which can be either fed through national or local media outlets, Weather.com is another example, or even social media platforms such as Twitter, where there's a breadth of information from tropical experts to the National Hurricane Center providing information.
I wish we had more time to talk. I would just recommend for the listeners to go to callforcode.org. That might be the best way to do it. I'm going to share this with my son. Dr. Michael Ventrice and Daniel Krook, thank you for the work you do and for taking time to be on the radio with us today.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. We'll be right back. Here is your 1-minute news brief. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was in Washington yesterday pushing for more federal dollars to help with disaster recovery. DeSantis appealed to President Trump for an increase in federal assistance for Hurricane Michael recovery. The National Weather Service has confirmed that a 105-mile-per-hour tornado tore a 1-mile-long path northwest of Ocala on Sunday. A Marion County thoroughbred horse ranch called Jay's Ranch incurred considerable